I was making coffee when I heard the suitcase wheels. Not the big rolling one, but the blue carry-on she always took when visiting her parents. It scraped softly across the wood floor as she pulled it into the kitchen, like she was trying not to wake something that had already died. "Martin," she said, stopping just past the doorway. "I think I need a break." "From what?" She hesitated. "From us." She didn't look angry or sad, just ready, as if she'd played this moment over in her head 100 times. I noticed the way her fingers tapped the suitcase handle, like she was steadying herself for turbulence. I didn't ask her why. I didn't ask where she was going. The silence between us had been growing roots for months. We hadn't had a real conversation in weeks, just schedules, chores, good night, and don't forget to lock the door. So I nodded once, just once. Then I stepped out of the way and let her pass. She blinked like she wasn't expecting that. Maybe she had her defenses up for a fight, or at least a list of questions. But there was nothing left to defend. She opened the front door. Morning sunlight spilled across the rug. No hug, no look back, just the soft click of the door behind her. I stood in the kitchen with the coffee still brewing. The scent was warm and familiar. Everything else wasn't. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't call my brother. I didn't vent to friends. I didn't even text her. I just moved quietly through the day, like stepping across a frozen lake. One wrong move and everything might crack beneath me. That night I made dinner for one. Chicken and rice. No music. No TV. Just the sound of the fork against the plate and the soft hum of the refrigerator. She didn't take much when she left, just some clothes, her toiletries, and I noticed the next morning, her favorite mug. That one detail landed harder than her leaving. It was a white ceramic mug with tiny red flowers on it. She used it every morning, even when we fought, even when she was too tired to speak. That mug always made it to the counter, and now it was gone. You don't pack a favorite mug if you're coming back. 12 days passed. She didn't call. I didn't text. But I noticed the way the house responded. The couch stayed perfectly shaped. The bathroom counter was neat for once. And the silence. It was softer now, less accusing. I started making breakfast for myself. I tried new recipes she never liked. French toast with too much cinnamon, eggs with avocado. I even listened to that old jazz playlist she hated. And for the first time in a while, I sat through a whole album without wanting to explain myself. On the 12th night, my phone lit up. Her name, Cindy. I stared at it for a second before answering. "Hey," she said softly, like she was calling from the past. "Hey," she asked how I was. I told her I was fine. She told me she'd been thinking about that old trip we never took. Asheville, North Carolina, the camper van idea. "I still want that someday," she said. I didn't respond. Then she asked, "Do you miss me?" It wasn't an innocent question. It was loaded. It was testing the temperature of the door she closed. "I don't know yet," I said. She was silent. Then she mumbled, "Okay, talk soon." I hung up before I answered. That night, I stared at her name in my contacts and deleted it. Not to erase her, not to punish her, just to accept what it meant when someone walks away without fighting. 2 days later, Ava from work pulled me aside in the break room. I didn't want to say anything, but I saw Cindy last weekend at that outdoor concert downtown. I raised an eyebrow. She was with someone, a guy, tall, dark jacket, scruffy beard. They weren't just friends. I saw them holding hands, kissing. I didn't react. I just nodded. She looked guilty, like she had told me a family pet died. "Thanks for telling me," I said. When I got home, I pulled our wedding album from the shelf. The leather was worn at the edges. I opened it slowly. Our smiles looked too big, too perfect, like we were playing a role we didn't rehearse. I closed it and placed it in the box with her scarves, her books, her favorite throw blanket, everything that still smelled like her. I carried the box to the garage. The next morning, I filed for divorce. There were no tears, no slammed doors, just quiet paperwork, and a name slowly being unstitched from my life. 3 weeks after she left, Cindy came back. It was a Thursday evening. I had just returned from the grocery store. I was locking the front door when I turned and saw her walking up the sidewalk. No suitcase, no umbrella, just herself. I was in the neighborhood, she said. Like that explained everything. I didn't speak. I've been thinking, she continued, and I made a mistake. A big one. She reached out slightly, like she expected me to fold. I miss us. I miss you. I want to fix things. I walked past her, into the garage, and returned with the box I'd packed. She stared at it like it was a weapon. You're not even going to hear me out. I did, I said. You just weren't here to hear me. She swallowed hard, voice breaking. It wasn't serious. The other guy. I panicked. I didn't plan for any of it. It just happened. Ava saw you. Her face drained of color. At the concert, I added. Cindy covered her mouth. Tears spilled down, finally. The kind I waited weeks to see. I swear it didn't mean anything. I nodded, calm, cold. I believe you. But that doesn't matter anymore. Her voice cracked. So that's it? I didn't answer right away. I looked past her. The street was quiet. The same silence from that morning she left. You didn't miss me, I said. You missed the version of yourself who didn't mess it all up. She sobbed. Real, heavy sobs. The kind you can't fake. But my heart didn't move. You don't come back from this, I said softly. Not here. Not with me. I stepped back and closed the door. Weeks later, my brother Jonathan called. Saw Cindy at the farmer's market, he said. She looked rough. Asked about you. Tell her I'm okay, I said. You sure you don't want to? Don't carry her words to me anymore. I hung up and exhaled. The divorce was finalized in early spring. I signed the last page, took a sip of coffee, and went back to working on the garden I'd started in her absence. Tomatoes, basil, rosemary. 2 months after that, I saw her again. It was at a mutual friend's wedding. She stood across the room in a burgundy dress. We locked eyes for half a second. She gave a faint smile. I didn't return it. Instead, I turned to my friends and left the room with them, the music fading behind me like a memory that no longer hurt. There was no anger left, no love either. Just peace. And that was more than enough.